Hello, y'all. It is me again. Time to make another one of these videos. I've seen so many movies from this year that I was just gonna wait to review till later, but honestly, right now seems like the best time to record one of these, especially because I just saw Nope. And you know what? That being said, let's get started with that one. So Nope is the newest film directed by Jordan Peele, who's also known to make other films like Get Out and Us. And my thoughts on those movies are I really like Get Out. It definitely holds up on rewatch. It is suspenseful. It is a hell of a directorial debut. But I feel that Jordan Peele's directing career felt like there was a little bit more to be desired. That's why I was so excited for his second film, Us, which I initially liked on first watch, but upon rewatches I realized it just didn't quite work for me. It was a little goofier, it was a little more ridiculous, and I couldn't really enjoy it that much more on a rewatch. And with this new one, none of that shit happened. I'm gonna be honest with y'all, this movie's pretty fresh in my mind, and I'm still not quite sure how much I like this movie. Because if I'm gonna be completely honest, the first 30 minutes really didn't have me that much. I thought the opening was fantastic, but the next 20 minutes of it were kind of strange a little, to say the least. But this movie had me glued to the screen. I could not stop enjoying and trying to figure out what's going on. I was hooked. I'm not gonna say anything about it because you should go into this film as blind as you can be. Trust me, you are not ready for this movie. That's all I want to say. I just want to say great job to the actors. Everyone in this movie did such a phenomenal job. Shout out to Jordan Peele for making a film that literally left me speechless for a solid hour after I saw the movie. And Hoyten van Hoytema did a fucking incredible job with the cinematography in this movie. Go check this one out on the biggest screen you can. If you haven't seen it yet and you're planning on watching it in IMAX, do so. I am going to go check this one out in IMAX as soon as possible. I thought it was awesome. Again, I have some flaws with it. I think I need to watch it one more time to give it a higher score, but for now I'm keeping it at an 8 out of 10. Wow. I did not expect this one to be this good. Brian and Charles. So I know it's kind of strange going from Nope to something as obscure and strange as Brian and Charles, but I really like this movie. This film is really cute, and there's a really incredible message and sort of this wholesomeness to it. My only issues with the film are that some of the jokes really don't quite hit the landing, and even though a lot happens in the first 15 minutes, it almost feels rushed but slow at the same time. I can't really explain that feeling, but as the film goes on, I just found myself enjoying more and more of the humor. I cared about the characters, I cared about the story. There's this group of characters that are a little too cartoony and villainy. I did not like them at all. I thought they did a pretty bad job in the movie. I get we're supposed to have some kind of antagonist in the film, but they didn't have to be so cartoonish. But that being said, this movie really did surprise me. I did not expect to like it as much as I did, and I thought everyone did a fantastic job, especially the main guy. You could just feel the sense of sadness and loneliness from him, and you understand this guy the more you watch the movie. But again, this movie is just charming. I think it's wonderful. I thought it was pretty cute for what it was trying to do. And that being said, I'd say go check it out. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. The Phantom of the Open. So this is one that I was actually quite excited to watch for a while now. I thought the trailer did a wonderful job at getting me hooked, at least in the idea of wanting to watch this movie. I like the main actor in the film. I've known him from being one of the side characters in Dunkirk, and I thought he was pretty good in that. But in this movie, he really sticks out in a good way. Sally Hawkins plays the wife, and she does a wonderful job as well. But just hearing this unknown story of this man who inspired so many people just by being himself. Again, this is another one of those movies that has such a wonderful message behind it, and it feels like you're watching a classic as you're watching it. Nowhere is it as good as anything that came out in the time period of films that it's replicating, but it's still really cute, and I found myself really enjoying this film quite a lot. There's just so many moments where it just put a smile on my face, and I was excited to see what would or what could happen next without knowing any of the story, and I thought it was great. Again, it's not one of the best films ever. There are some ridiculous moments, there are some pretty bad shots in certain scenes, but other than that, it's just a pretty fun movie. I had a fun time watching it, and I'd go recommend it. I'm giving this one a 7 out of 10. The Black Phone. So I've seen this one twice now, and yes, while there are some pretty big flaws with it, I overall kind of like this movie as well. My biggest flaw with the film is that there's one character that is so unnecessarily despicable, and I get the film is supposed to convey this character as being that, but by the end, something happens, and it just feels really wrong, especially seeing what happened like the first 15 minutes without spoiling it. It feels like it wrapped up this big thing that happened early on in the movie a little too conveniently, and it kind of left a bad taste in my mouth by the end of the movie, and not in the way that the film I think intended to do. But yeah, other than that, there's some pretty bad children acting in certain scenes, specifically from the friend with the bandana. I don't know his name, but as much as I like this character in the movie, I did not like the actor playing him.
But man, that movie, it's the best ever.
Better than Enter the Dragon.
Well, okay, maybe second best.
And even the main character, it took a while for me to get used to his acting. I think later on as the film progresses, his acting gets better and better. But yeah, the child acting in this film isn't incredible, but the sister did a pretty good job. But Ethan Hawke was so fucking scary in this movie, and it's just overall such a dark yet rewarding experience. And the 2 times I saw it, I was filled with anxiety. Even knowing what happened after the initial watch, it still stuck with me. And for that, I know like a lot of people are giving this movie shit, but I quite enjoyed it. I'm gonna have to give it a 7 out of 10. Go check it out, see if it's for you. I didn't think it was the best thing ever, but you know what, pretty good follow-up to the same guy who made Sinister and Doctor Strange. Thor: Love and Thunder. I really wanted to like this movie, but I just didn't. This movie really irked me the wrong way. I'm gonna say right now, I thought the visual effects were abysmal in this movie, especially the CGI. There's just moments where stuff looks wrong, stuff looks weird, stuff looks awkward. To summarize this movie in a single sentence, I think it would have worked a lot better if it was a Disney Plus show. I've seen Disney Plus shows that would have been incredible if they put it on a big screen, if they just condensed the runtime, but even though it's a film, it just feels so short and condensed. Something about the movie was missing. The way it just presents itself and tries to be more entertaining, it just comes off as so obnoxious. Characters that you once loved are now annoying and just there to make a joke every second. Irrelevant jokes from way back, like almost 10 years ago, show up out of nowhere and don't go away. It was a really annoying experience for me, and while I overall like certain aspects of the film, especially when they land on Christian Bale's planet and it's all black and white with a bit of color every now and then, it just didn't work for me. I'm really sad to say that if this is the direction Marvel movies are going in soon, I'm really not excited. I was pleasantly surprised with Shang-Chi and Eternals, but I did not like this movie, and for that, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10. Broker. So this is a new South Korean film directed by the same guy who made Shoplifters. While I can say that I did like this movie, the only thing that's keeping this from being a higher score for me is the fact that it's quite forgettable. I will say this, it's very well shot and I did like the emotion of the actors and the story, but overall I just feel that it needed a bit more to make it a much more memorable experience. It really doesn't hit the nail or the memorability as Shoplifters, his previous film that I like a lot more, but overall I was still glad that I was able to see it, and once it's accessible to watch in North America, I'd say go check it out, see if it's for you. There's some really good actors in this movie, and overall, again, it's a pretty good story. I'm glad this exists, but at the same time, I don't feel that I ever need to watch it again, and I worry that this is one of those films that's just gonna be forgotten with all the other watched films that I've seen. I didn't hate it. I actually enjoyed it for the most part, but I just wish there was something more to make it more memorable, and for that, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. Elvis. Oh God, if my little sister's watching this video, I'm so sorry. I'm gonna be honest with y'all. So I saw this movie a few times. The first time I saw it, I did not like it. I thought it was really cheesy. I thought it was too long. But the most notable thing about the film that really detracted from the experience for me is Tom Hanks. I don't know why this guy did such a poor fucking job in this movie, but every second he was on that screen, I wanted to die. I could not stand Tom Hanks' portrayal of this character who's not this obnoxiously annoying with his voice, And it's like, to like non-directly quote Tropic Thunder, he went there, all right. What the fuck, Tom Hanks? Sorry, to get that out of the way, how was the film directed? Honestly, it's kind of a mess. It has this whole ADHD editing towards it that worked a little more on rewatches, but just really threw me off on the first watch. But we gotta address the elephant in the room. Austin Butler, how did he do? He was phenomenal in the movie. I'm telling you right now, this is probably one of the best casting decisions I've ever seen put to film. I think Austin Butler's the perfect role for that because he's not too notable. He's not like a household name. After this movie, of course, he's going to become a household name because he did a wonderful job in this movie. The fact that this man sings some of these songs in some of these scenes is insane to me. And just the dedication, the emotion, the raw nature, like it really did feel like you were watching Elvis on screen. Yes, it's Austin Butler at the end of the day. Nothing will compare to the original Elvis, but he was damn close and he did a wonderful job at playing Elvis in this movie. I just wish it was directed a little better, and honestly, I wish they got someone better than Tom Hanks. Or I just wish that Tom Hanks took this character in a different fucking direction. That being said, even though it sounds like I've been very critical about the movie, upon rewatches, I do find myself enjoying it a little more, especially the protest song and the ending. Oh my goodness, it's just, the movie gives me chills upon rewatches, and you know what? That's a good thing. And I can overall say I like it, but it did take a while for me to get there. I'm gonna have to keep it at a pretty low 6 out of 10, but you know what? That's still a good score, so go check it out and see what you think. Minions, The Rise of Gru. I wore a suit to watch this as a joke. I'm like, why not? My shift ended. I had nothing else to do. And you know what? I'm just going to say this right now, and I'm not going to waste anyone's time. If you like Minions movies or the Despicable Me movies, you are going to like these movies. I liked the first Despicable Me. I wasn't too keen on the second one. I could not stand the third one, and I hated the original Minions movie. So yeah, overall, I didn't like this one. I think it was better. I love the James Bond opening for the most part, and there were a few jokes that made me exhale, but really this was so damn boring. I just could not get behind this. I'm glad people like it, but really it just wasn't for me. This movie can go fuck itself. I'm giving it a 3 out of 10. Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe. This is a comeback for the boys, baby. Oh my god. So Beavis and Butthead, if you didn't know, is one of my favorite TV shows of all time. That being said, what did I think about this new movie? I'll be honest, I was kind of put off a little at the beginning with the animation and with some of the comedy. It felt like cheap jabs that were a little out of date, but oh my god, this movie was awesome. You quickly get used to the animation. The jokes are funnier than ever. It's fresh. It's great to see them interact in today's society, but from a 90s perspective. Like, there's a reason why Mike Judge is one of the best animators and content creators and just writers out there, and he did the fucking show justice. Obviously, because the man created the show. What else was he gonna do with this? You think this was gonna flop? It could have, but it didn't, and I had a lot of fun watching this. I still don't think it's the best thing ever, but I'd put it up there with Do America. I can't tell if I like it more or less, but I'm giving it the same score. I'm gonna have to give Beavis and Butthead Do the Universe a 7 out of 10. Cha Cha Real Smooth. This was a really good movie, dude. I never thought at the age of 19 that I would need a movie to tell me to both grow the fuck up and stay the fuck young, yet this movie did that for me. Now, some of my cons with the movie are that structurally it felt kind of like a mess during certain scenes, and there's one character breaking moment that really felt kind of off. Yes, they acknowledge it later on in the movie, but again, it's just seeing this character act one way and then all of a sudden act a different way during one of the scenes just because the film needed some tension, felt a little off. But overall, I related to this movie in such a personal way. I can't help but impact my score because of that. I mean, this movie will either work for you or it won't. It's on Apple TV's stupid streaming service, so if you're able to, go check this one out because I think it's an incredible story that was incredibly directed. It was funny, it was weird. It's not at all what I expected, but you know what, to be honest, I really didn't know what to expect since I knew nothing going into it. If you know nothing about this movie, go check it out because I think it is the real deal, and for that reason I'm gonna have to give it an 8 out of 10. Lightyear. So Lightyear's one of those movies that really doesn't have to exist. I kind of watched it as a joke, expecting it to be the worst thing ever, and I guess I was a little surprised. It was fine for the most part. Obviously, the animation was pretty good. It had some cool action scenes. The hyperspeed scenes were really cool to see, and I liked the soundtrack of it. I liked the atmosphere. I liked the characters, and yes, even the animal sidekick robotic toy had some annoying moments, but for the most part, character was kind of cute and a little charming, and I kind of enjoyed its presence. But really, at the end of the day, what is there to say about this movie? It didn't need to exist. You could just tell with the box office numbers that no one really cared. Everyone's just waiting for this to come out on Disney Plus anyways. Should you watch it? I don't know. Not really. You don't have to, but was it bad? Was it offensive? Was it the worst thing ever? No. It was fine. And yeah, for that, I'm gonna have to give it a 6 out of 10. I wish there was more I could say about it, but it exists, and that's totally fine with me. And finally, to end this off on a much more, I guess, sour note, if I have to, Crimes of the Future. There really isn't much I want to say. It's well shot. I guess it's kind of well acted. Yeah, it's weird, but it feels a little more edgelordy than that. It feels like it's weird without a purpose. I did not appreciate this film's existence. I felt that my time was wasted, and maybe the ending will work for some people, but for me, it just pissed me off. It left more questions than answers, and really, this isn't one of those films that's so weird it's gonna stick with you. I basically forgot this the minute I walked out of the auditorium, and I hope other people are able to like it. But yeah, this really wasn't for me. I wish it was better, but to me, I couldn't get anything out of it. It felt like it had no purpose, and obviously this film works for some people, but for me, it really didn't. But it's the most blech movie I've seen all year, and for that reason, I'm gonna have to give it a 4 out of 10. And that's what I thought about all those movies. I know that this was kind of a longer one. It included a lot more reviews from all these different times. Like, I've seen a lot of movies, basically. This wasn't even all of them. These are just the most notable ones, or ones I've been wanting to talk about for a while. But I'm not going to waste any more time. If you like this video, give it a like. Thank you so much for watching my videos. Like, I really appreciate it. I'm glad I'm still able to put these out to tell y'all what I think, because I love watching movies, and so far I think this is a really good year for movies. That being said, stay safe, stay awesome, and go watch a movie. Later, y'all.
Yeah, that song definitely. That's one of those songs I'm like, why? This song is so good, but why?